This is the Amcrest 8 megapixel Ultra HD 4K bullet power over Ethernet IP security camera. It supports true 4K resolution up to 3840 by 2160 with a bitrate up to 10 megabits per second, 131 feet of night vision range, 2.8mm lens, and it has a 112-degree field of view. It also has a micro SD slot allowing for some local storage on the camera itself. It also has a bunch of the normal stuff built into it, like motion detection and push notifications. However, there's one thing missing that I really wish it had. What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte My Bits, and I'm talking about the Amcrest 4K security camera today. Now, this thing's pretty awesome. It is power over Ethernet. It doesn't have any Wi-Fi or anything like that, but that's completely okay. Now at its highest resolution, it can only do 4K at 15 frames per second. If you want a higher frame rate video, you definitely have some options to drop it down. Simply lowering the resolution does give you different options for higher frame rates. And those of you who might be worried about a power over Ethernet devices if you don't have a PoE switch, don't worry, Amcrest has you covered. They offer this PoE injector, something that you can use. Basically, you have one port for in, one port for out that powers the camera, and you can have this sitting right next to your switch or your router. You plug it right into the wall and you're good to go. Also, it does have some slots on both sides, basically allowing you to connect multiple versions of these together if you want to build like, a wall of these. Honestly though, if you're gonna do something like that and you want these sitting on your wall, I would just say get a PoE switch. You don't need to invest individually in things like this. But hey, if you're doing one or two cameras and you don't wanna get a full switch dedicated to power over Ethernet, this is a valid solution. Ooh, it's kinda big. Is that good? Thankfully though, I do have a Cisco PoE switch, so I just plugged it right in, it powered right up, no problems whatsoever. Now, one of the great things about Amcrest is they do focus on opening up their cameras. That means you're gonna be able to use this camera with their own NVRs or DVRs, of course, but you can also use it with something like Blue Iris, which is what I use. And because it's open, it is super simple to set up. Now, you can use the app on your phone, or you can be like me, just plug it into your network, find out what IP address it has, navigate to that website, and configure it that way. And then of course, once you have the IP address configured with your own personal password, you go to something like Blue Iris, plug in the IP address, plug in the username and password, and it's good to go. I mean, it really is super simple to set up. Now, the app is easy to use and does give you some pretty good functionality, including the push notification for any kind of movement detected on the camera. So if you do not have a separate system set up, something like a DVR or an NVR that's going to give you those push notifications, you can rely on the camera and the app itself. Now, before I get into showing you a few examples of the camera's quality, I do want to take a little moment to give you my opinion on running this thing at its fullest resolution. Now, bear in mind, there are a couple variables that you have to take into consideration for some of the, I want to say, issues that I had. Now, this really revolves all around Blue Iris. As I said, it's really easy to get set up and plugged into Blue Iris and just up and running with little to no effort. However, the thing that I noticed when I did get it set up is that there was a big delay between showing the video of the new Amcrest camera running at the full 4K resolution and all of my other cameras. Now keep in mind, this is hardwired with Ethernet cable, so there really shouldn't be any throughput issues. However, it was just delayed, sometimes upwards of 4 to 6 seconds. I could wave my hand in one camera and then like 5 seconds later, I'd show up in the Amcrest camera. So there was definitely a delay. Now, as far as those variables go, again, this is my Blue Iris software set up on a virtual server on my main server. So maybe it's not fast enough, maybe there's some lag there. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons why, the video could have been delayed being at such a high quality. But I did want to mention it because it is possible that there might have been some delay caused from the camera in rendering that file and sending it over the network. But moving on from there, let's give you an example of what it looks like during the day. Of course, it had to be a cloudy day today, but at least you get a pretty good idea of how the camera looks. Now, I did record that in its fullest resolution with the highest bitrate available. So that quality is the best the camera has to offer. And I have to say, it looks really good. Even though I did blur it out, I can easily read my street name across the street. And personally, I think the night vision on the camera actually looks pretty decent, but I'll give you an example of that here. Again, I'm recording this at its fullest resolution and its highest bitrate, so what you see is the best the camera has to offer. So overall, I would say that the camera looks really good both in the day and at night. It's got a good field of view, decent night vision, all around it's a solid camera, and the resolution, I mean, it's pretty high. But like I said in the beginning of this video, it is missing one crucial thing that I really just wish it had, and that is sound. Unfortunately, this IP camera does not have any option to record sound, no built-in microphone. Now I have Reolink cameras, a Ubiquiti camera, all of those have microphones built in. I could understand if this was a CCTV camera and not have audio, but for an IP camera, I would really hope that it would have a built-in microphone, especially for the cost. Now, if you do want to find up-to-date pricing, I will link to this camera in the description down below, but it is going to be up there between that $130 to $140 range. So personally, I would hope that for that price point, I would be able to get a microphone built into the camera. But I can say this, I've been testing this camera for about two and a half weeks now, and I was testing for something very specific. Pretty much, I wanted to see if it would drop out at all. And what I mean by dropping out is that with Blue Iris, with my Reolink cameras, something that I've been really kind of fussing with lately is that the Reolink cameras like to drop signal. I don't know why they do it. I've contacted Reolink. They give me this runaround telling me to drop the image resolution, drop the bit rate. They're basically telling me to put crutches on the cameras to try to get them to work 100% of the time. And knowing my luck, if something goes down, it's probably going to be one of those moments where the camera is down itself. Now, at first, this wasn't an issue for me because I thought maybe it was something to do with my setup, my network, my wiring. I pretty much just assumed it was my fault. However, using Reolink cameras at work, I noticed that they were doing the exact same thing on a completely different system with completely different wiring. So I've actually wanted to test the bullet cameras from Amcrest for a long time, and I wanted to see if they are reliable. I wanted to see if they were going to drop out periodically like my Reolink cameras do. And I can say this, for the last 2.5 weeks they've been running, they've never once dropped connection. Whereas my Reolink can drop connection sometimes 20 to 30 times a day. Don't worry, I'll make an entire video probably bashing Reolink on this subject pretty soon, but I just wanted to get that test out of the way because I may do a full switch over to Amcrest cameras. Possibly. So hey, Amcrest, if you're listening, I'd love to test out a bullet Wi-Fi camera, preferably one with sound, and maybe a dome camera. Hook me up. So with that testing in the bag, I know that the Amcrest cameras are much more reliable and so far without fault compared to the Reolink cameras, so that's awesome. The image quality is there, it looks Actually, side note, during part of my testing, I had it actually set up in the corner of my studio, just kind of keeping an eye on over here, and literally this morning at like 6 a.m., it randomly caught one of my little webcams fall over that was mounted to a little boom arm thing. Keep in mind, that thing has been sitting in the same spot for the better part of a week. And just randomly this morning when I was asleep, completely asleep, that thing decided to fall over. I haven't touched it. It scares me now because out of nowhere, that thing fell over, caught it on camera. I'm not saying that my house is haunted, but it is. Freaking ghost, man. So I like just about everything with this camera. It's solid, it works, everything is great, the quality is amazing, I like it, I just wish it had some sound. Having the motion detection and the push notification is nice, but another great thing that Amcrest offers is a cloud service where you can upload videos automatically to the cloud service and access around the world. So all in all, it does have a lot of the basic features, some more advanced, but I just want to leave with one little note. When I was talking about not being able to run it at 4K, I did do a little bit of testing with that. And pretty much what I did is I just kept dropping it down resolution one at a time until I got to a point where I could get the highest possible quality with the same latency as the rest of my cameras. And that's where I was left with 2688 by 1920 at 25 frames per second. So I still get a higher resolution than a 1080p camera recorded with Blue Iris, but I'm not able to take advantage of the full 4K capabilities of this camera. But again, I am completely assuming that this is probably a server thing on my part. My Blue Iris server is probably lagging behind, you know, trying to handle that signal, and it's taking a little bit of extra time. But hey, since I don't have an Amcrest NVR or DVR, I can't test it out to see if it is delayed on those as well. So yeah, it is what it is. Hey guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, post them down below. Again, if you'd like to check this product out, I will link it in the description. As always, thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and have yourself a good day.